So depending on whether how you have the system parameters set, there are two different uses for the contact temp. Okay, so we're going to look at that as well. And it is linked to the inbox, to the Outlook inbox, because one of the uses for it is that it can actually display all of these emails that you sync in from your Outlook. Okay, and then we have a little bit of extra time. We'll also look at, this was a few releases ago. It's about how you can set up diary actions to auto-create based on the job type, so not on the call center. So previously, it used to be that you could only set up tasks to be auto-created.
Explain that when you get to it.
Okay, yeah, okay. We'll do the first two because they're linked together, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay.
Does anybody here not use the contact tab?
We're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had been talking to Olympia about it a bit, and I did create a very, it's a very brief sort of training video that shows you the different uses, but if you guys have any questions right now that you want to ask, feel free to. So you do have to have Outlook open. If you have the Moveware locally, then you probably will already have Outlook open on your computer usually while you're working. If you're in the server, if you're using Moveware remotely, then it has to be in the open in the server in order for it to be able to sync. Okay, so while it opens, the Outlook inbox screen is usually found in, coordination. So Outlook inbox, there it is. As you know, you can rearrange your menus and where you have the screens showing, like where they're organized under. So if you have one of the databases that I've seen in the past that doesn't really make sense where it is, you can change that. Okay, so what happens when you first open up the Outlook screen is this little message will pop up automatically, and it says refresh view from Outlook inbox. And then no, refresh may take some time as messages are matched against the Moveware database. So what it's doing is it's actually looking at your whole inbox folder. Okay, I don't know if some of you have a ton of emails that you haven't cleared in years maybe. It probably will take a little bit at first to load. What we suggest is that when you are using this feature in Moveware already, try to keep it as clean as possible. That way every time it looks in there, it doesn't take very long. Filtering from November 23rd until December 6th. So basically, I think it's 2 weeks. So it's true, it won't look up the years past, but if you do have a ton of emails, even from the last 2 weeks, it will take a little bit longer. Okay, so we say yes.
An important thing, when you do it the first time, if you have never done it and you're going to have a big inbox, there is a way to not get it to match those emails. So it takes it's a lot quicker. So normally on the first time you do it, we recommend that you turn that off. It's a system parameter. Just look for Outlook in system parameter and you'll find it. And it says do not match emails on importing them. So you run it without turning off, and then you turn it on for the next time, which you'll have less emails to check.
So just so you know, matching emails means that it's basically finding whether it's the removal numbers in the subject fields, or it also matches it by finding maybe like the agent's invoices, creditor invoices. If it finds anything like that that's in the system, it will do a match. Okay, so right now what's happened, so I brought in all the emails that I found within that date range. Okay, so we can change that date. And it hasn't actually linked anything because Ramiro doesn't have emails that have removals plans with it, or there's not finding the data that's in Moveware, so it's not actually linking them automatically. But in your cases, it would link them automatically. So what would happen, I will show you, because you can also do it manually. So if, let's say that there is an email that you have in your inbox that it is actually related to a move in Moveware, but it doesn't, it's with an email from someone that's not, that data is not in that file in Moveware. So maybe it's come from a different agent that you hadn't been working with up until that point. So Moveware doesn't find that match. And we do recommend that once you're using Moveware, you always put the removal plan that you use in the system as the subject, even if it's just at the end in brackets, specifically for this reason, so that it's the easiest way for this to find the link to match it is if it already has the removal number. It's unique because when it's a creditor or an agent, you might be working with them for various moves, right? So it's harder for the system to actually know. Whereas if it's using the removal plan, it's not going to fail.
But it is only checking the subject line.
Yes, it's only checking the subject. So let's say this one that I'm sitting on, it pertains to one of the moves in MoveWare, but there was nothing indicating, nothing in the subject line for it to do the match. So what I would do is I would select that line, and I'm going to, right here, it allows me to link it to either a removal, a waybill, a rate request, a debtor record, a creditor record, or an agent record. Okay, so those are all the different places I can send it off to. So I'm going to leave it in removal, and then this little next icon, I don't know what it is, a little sheet with a hand, is going to let me pick manually which removal I want to link it to. Okay? Yes.
You don't have to select it. Just by highlighting the line and doing the little hand.
Yeah, no, so automatically what it'll do, when you click the icon, it's automatically going to link it.
No, you don't have to select as you selected the line, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see, I see.
The selection is for multiple selections. So if you want to do 5 emails at once that go to the same record, you select, but if just by highlighting it, you're fine.
Yeah, so we don't actually need to double click, just by the system knowing which one you're standing on, that's good enough. If I want to link these 3, then yes, I will have to select, and then I go here, and then it'll link it all 3, okay? So basically, let's select this one. So what it's done there, this is exactly how it would look if it does find a match automatically. So if we have the removal in the subject line, then already when it brings in all the emails, it's already going to come in with removal indicating the number. And if it's wrong, if you do happen to notice that maybe it found, you double click it, and then you select which the right one is. Okay, as you can see, it lets you preview it at the bottom as well, which is helpful. It also lets you do certain functions like email functions from here, like you can actually reply to them. I don't know if any of you actually use it for that. But, so the next step for us to, as I was saying previously, this is kind of like you're getting it set up to actually import into the different jobs. It's not, just by clicking on it, it's not importing it yet. It gives you a final step where you're saying, okay, perfect, I've already set everything up, I've already selected all the emails that I want to sync over, and then when you're ready to do it, it's the little post icon right here. Okay, so what it actually does, so it says here, do you want to create a diary entry for the selected emails? So once it actually sends the email to the file, it creates a diary action. I believe that says email received, and it has the email of the person that sent the email in brackets, and then the email will go along with it. Okay, so we can actually take a quick look. Yes, good point. So I'm going to click no, actually, because if I do want to import the attachments as well, I want to have that one checked off. Okay. Yes, and the second one, the bypass selection pop-up, what happens is, I'll show you in a minute, I don't know if this one has attachments. Just show us quickly here. Probably has images, right? So I'm not going to click the bypass selection pop-up. What that would do is if I have 5 attachments in an email, once I click the post icon to sync them, it's going to bring up a pop-up that's going to show me which of the, I might get it now if there's attachments, which of the attachments I want to...
sometimes you'll get like a signature as an attachment and you don't want to put them.
Yeah, exactly, that does happen. Images, which are all the logos are usually an image, are considered attachments, so that's fortunate. But you can usually tell very easily which ones are, they'll have like the image one or something, and then you'll have the actual name of the quote, whatever it might be. Okay. So I'm going to leave that one. So it does ask me if I have a few, but I will leave the download attachments. And I think maybe there's a way to have the download attachments by default checked off. Because I think I've seen it before that the download attachments is already checked off by default, and you just, rather than having to check it every time, you uncheck it. Okay, so once again, do you want to create a diary entries? Yes, I do. Okay, and there you go. Actually, so even if it doesn't have multiple, it will still bring up this little screen. Right now, it's only finding one logo, it looks like. That's probably what that image is. And then if there were actual documents in there, they would all be listed there, and you can tell it which ones you want. Okay. So, I mean, if you're only doing a couple of emails, you can, once you get comfortable with this, you can do that very quickly. If you are doing it only once a month or something like that, and you have, or yeah, that might not be recommendable. But even if you're doing it once a week and you have a lot of emails and you don't want to go one by one, you can just bypass that and it'll be much quicker. Okay, so I will select this image just so that I can show you. Okay, so yeah, it is a logo. So done. Okay, so creation of diary actions is complete. Attachments have also been downloaded. Okay, so I'm going to go to reference number. So
don't go yet. So a couple of things here on the Outlook inbox that are good for you to know. When the email has been downloaded, then it will flag it in green, and it will happen every time I come back in here, as long as that email sits on my inbox, right? So if you do keep the same inbox, even if I go back on a date, so I want to see 2 weeks ago, because maybe I forgot to bring an email, it will already bring it in and flag in green. So I'll say you already have this email in the database, okay? The other important thing is that you can check any inbox and your sent mail. So if you commit the error of sending an email not through Mover, that you should have sent through Mover, you can come in here and say, I want to read my sent items. Therefore, you can import your sent items as if you had sent them from Mover. You can also read other inboxes. I only have the one, but if you have multiple accounts, multiple inboxes, you can read others as well. Okay, by default, it reads your main one, your default account, but you can read others. The idea normally how we teach people to use this is to come in here, have this open, refresh it every hour or so. Now it does, as Maya said, allow you, so if this is one that I can quickly reply, I don't actually need it on a job, it's something about my kids' soccer club, I can come in here and reply, send it out, and it's gone, right? And then, but again, I don't actually need to go into my Outlook to work on them. The other thing is if you get it on that first time, if you haven't done this before, and you turn that system parameter off so it doesn't check, it doesn't try and match emails to try and save time on as it downloads it. Once you have them, then you can click on this icon and it will run the match then. Okay, so it's a second step, but it saves you a bit of processing time. Third is if you link it, but you're not 100% sure yet if you want to create it, because you may have a newer email or maybe it doesn't actually fit in there, you can, as soon as the reference is in there, you can click on this, and that will open that file as a pop-up, so you can read it and say, okay, yes, I do want this to go into that account. Okay. Is that select all? Yeah, so select all items. So if it comes in, so normally this would come in like this, right? So it would select that item, and let's say that comes in and goes to that job, and then that item would come in, and that may go to debtor, which is that one. Okay, so this is what you'll see when you do import. Some of them already are there, some of them are matching it, but you say, no, I don't want to do anything, so you can come in here and essentially deselect them all. If you haven't read it, so the integration with Outlook works both ways in this case. So, well, it does when sending as well. So, let's say that ideally you're not working with Outlook, okay? Ideally you have Outlook open, but this is your Outlook, this is your inbox. So you come in here again, you do your quick replies and whatnot. As soon as you read an email here and you want to be alerted in your inbox that you have read it, you can click on this, and in Outlook inbox you will see that email as read. Okay, so it's just marking it as read. Okay. Refresh is if I'm done with this, I'm just gonna reread my inbox and bring in any new emails. Okay. So 30 new messages. You'll see that one came back because it's still on my inbox, but it's green. I have already imported. These two, as soon as we get okay, so that job was 11:58, so let's go to it. So all of you have the contact tab activated, but may not be using it? You are using it?
I tried.
Okay.
Yeah, we have it activated, we can't use it.
Okay. It's important if you have it active or not because it behaves differently, but as long as everybody has it active, then that's good. One of the added benefits of the emails having them here, in searchability versus Outlook. is when you get the emails, you can actually change the subject line. And you can do it here, you can do it here or on the job level. Now let's go back. Okay. So what you can do is you can change that subject, okay, to be whatever you want. So this is very useful for something like Feedy, because you can say this is my quote acceptance hyphen what the actual subject is. So then on the contact tab, when you go and search for this email, you're going through an audit, you're going through everything, you can search for, show me my quote acceptance, show me my freight rate 1, freight rate 2, freight rate 3, whatever you want it to be, and you can actually start categorizing them that way. Okay?
Thanks, Fernando. Okay, so what Ramiro did before, I don't know if you noticed, but he actually filtered by contact, because if I have the whole list, sometimes you guys might have a lot of diary actions or maybe even a lot of emails that were brought in there or sent from here.
And if you have the contact tab active, that's why I asked, they will not show unless you filter.
Exactly, so is it if you filter or you have to actually select the contact? So what he's done right now, because we don't have it enabled right now, the contact tab, for it to move all of the emails and any sort of task that's of type contact, we'll look at that in a second. Because it's not activated, it's leaving them in the diary, so it's leaving them together with all the diary actions. So if we just want to look at the ones that are contacts, we can just filter that way, and here is the email, okay? So if we double click at the bottom, it'll show us the email, and then if we want to see the attachment as well, the attachments will get taken directly into the file folder of that move, okay? Okay, so I'll show you in a minute. I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about it, and then I'll show you the system parameters and how you can get it going, okay? So the first is to split up the diary, which is basically what we're talking about. You can actually, if you have a lot of emails and communication that goes on with every client, you don't want it all together in the diary. You can actually set it up so that it moves all of your, not just your emails, but you know how you can actually also add a call, for example. You have the little phone icon that you can just add if the client or the agent calls you quickly about that move and you want to leave a note about it. That is also considered a contact action, so that would be put into contact as well. And basically any diary action that is configured as I want to say type comment. I have to confirm because it's not always called the same way. It's either, I think it's a diary action of type comment. Do you know that off the top of your head? It's any diary action of type comment that's configured as a comment diary action.
To show on the contact, yes.
Yes, comment. Because I used to think it was contact, but no, it's comment. So if you go into your diary action setup and you see the ones that have comment yes, then those are the ones that will be automatically sent to the contact.
You can turn it on for both. I'll show you how it works, and then we'll look at the parameters. So if you see mine, I have my contact list here. It has all my emails, and again, that's a neat thing that you can, for example, on this one. So this was the email sent, and let's say that was reconfirming your move, but for audit purposes, I want this to be called a confirmation email. I can do that. I can change it here as we did before. Oh, it is completed, so go. That's the other neat thing of doing it on the other side. It won't have that issue because it's not a complete action yet. Okay, so then you can search by that. Now, so your contacts will be here. You can search for them. Same thing as on your diary actions. You can choose an email and then you can reply to it. You can forward it. And whatnot. You can, same as a diary, you can record phone calls, so make notes and whatnot. But the thing that we've added as well is an internal discussion. Okay? So in order to create an internal discussion, we do need to set up a few things on the background. But what you do is you come in here and you add a new contact of type discussion. And let's say this is going to be my sales topic. Okay? You can name it whatever you want. I'll make sure it's not completed because it's an ongoing communication. And that creates a discussion group. So there you go. They have the sales topic. And I can't actually write in here. What I need to do is I need to do an entry into this log. How I do that is if you see when I click on a discussion, this little icon comes up. If I click on anything else, it goes away. So this one is behaving as an email, reply all, and forward. If I click on this one, those go away, and this one comes in. If I click on it, what I do is I'm going to make my comment. Client is asking for full pack. Okay? And I add that. So it actually stamps my user, the date and time that I did that comment, and that's my comment. So somebody else will come in here, let's say that as Word Balance works, they have the salesperson and the sales coordinator. The sales coordinator comes in and then says, we'll do 2 quotes, full pack and no pack. Okay, and I add that in. So then the idea is that you'll have an entry stamp of everybody that has basically is part of this conversation, right? Now this is not to be used as a messenger that we have. This is not to be used as an email replacement. It is not to be used as one of our details notes replacement. This is where you have an ongoing notepad where more than one person is involved on making those notes. Okay? And why I say it's not to replace the others is because you don't get any alerts. You actually have to, it's somewhere where you, I'm gonna come in and check that there are notes, right? So maybe as part of your processes, again, the salesperson is mandated to make these notes here, and this is where the sales coordinator knows to come in and check for those, okay? But you're not gonna be notified of them.
So there's different system parameters that actually allow to set it up in different ways. If you don't think that they're gonna be checking the contact on their own, we'll set up a system parameter that it's either discussion or contact.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through as many of the parameters as I remember you have to set up. If you set them up and it doesn't work, do let us know, because I may have missed one. Number 1 is in your, I think actually number 1,
you know?
so, so number 1 is make sure when you go to system parameters, your very first tab, which is this, is a general tab. At the bottom here, you have folder display, which is what are we showing on every menu of Mover. This is the standard, which is your job menu. There's the contact tab. You have to have that active. Okay. How you have that active or inactive is I click on it, and I click on the little check mark. That has inactivated for my removals. I have activated again. Okay, so that has to be active. If not, the tab will not show. So then, if we go into, I'm going to go here to search for contact, and there's this one here, which is to display only discussions diary type in contacts tab. So when we release this and whoever had it added to the system, this was set as yes, because we didn't want to affect how you work with emails and contacts on the diary. And I assume a lot of people still have it as yes, which means that on that contact tab, you can only create discussions as the second example I just gave you. If you switch that to no, that means the contact tab now behaves as you're seeing it now, which is you have both contacts and internal discussions usability on that folder. Now, be warned that when you do that, all your emails from your diary tab automatically disappear. They'll just filter down, because that is the purpose of this screen, is to move them away from the user. Right? So don't do that without notifying anybody, because somebody's going to freak out and ask, where are my emails? So, okay. To send emails in contact tab, so that's the one Maya was saying before, we can turn that to yes, I have it as no, which then allows me to, so I can send that contact history to somebody, internal, external, and I can send them a copy, okay? So I've just changed that parameter to do that. Okay.
So they'll be able to actually be notified that there is a new thread, maybe a new discussion going on. So maybe you can paste everyone or add everyone's email that should be aware that there's this new discussion, and then they can get it. Even if it's maybe you can just send the first email so that they know there's a new discussion for that job, and if the first comment is something that affects various people. And then from there, maybe you choose not to send out an email every time a comment is added. People know to go check it there.
So there's one more thing you need to set up, but before I do that, I might as well show you because we are here. Is okay. This is a double negative, and bear with us. A lot of our codes are like this. This is what I was saying. If you're going to run the Outlook for the first time, you want to make it a bit quicker. It says do not match email on Outlook import. Do not match no, it is matching. So do not match yes would be for your cases on that first run. Okay. So the last thing you need to do is, in order for the discussions to work, you actually do have to have a diary action called discussion. It cannot be called anything else. The code is looking for discussion. Okay. So I see there code by discussion, description, discussion. And as Maya said, it says common action equals yes. Okay, so it has to be a common action for me to be able to filter down as a contact.
So we can actually create like specific discussions, like if you guys already want to have, ops discussion, like operations discussion, sales discussion, like when we're just created. I don't know what different options would be.
So and they behave like direct action. So the good thing is you can automate them. As soon as a job is booked, these three discussions are created, and then everybody starts adding to them.